sports fans, this is the week 18 of the National Football League. And with that being said, there's tons of playoff scenarios. Teams with winning records could not make the playoffs, and there are teams that will be making the playoffs for the first time in several years. So with that, you have your first game Saturday at 4:30. The Steelers are playing the Baltimore Ravens. With that, the Ravens have already clinched the number one seed in the AFC. The Steelers are still looking to get into the playoffs this year, and the scenario for them to get in and get playoff berth, they have to win and Buffalo loses, or they win and Jacksonville loses or ties. They win or Houston and the Colts tie. They're in if they tie with the Ravens, Jacksonville loses, Houston and the Colts don't end in a tie, or the Jaguars lose, Denver win, Houston and Indy doesn't end in a tie. So the easiest route for the Steelers to make the playoffs is they win and Buffalo loses. If they lose to the Ravens, they are out of the playoffs. There should not be another way for them to get in. With that being said, I'm taking the Ravens to beat the Steelers at home and for them to go to 14-3 on the year. Next, you have Houston playing the Colts in Indianapolis. With that being said, the Houston Texans and Colts both have playoff scenarios. So for Houston to clinch the AFC South division, they have to win and Jacksonville loses or tie. For them to even get in the playoffs, they have to win or they tie, Jacksonville loses, and the Steelers lose or tie. For the Colts to get the AFC South divisional title, the Colts have to win and the Jaguars have to lose, or the Colts tie and Jacksonville loses. For the Colts to make the playoffs, they have to win or they tie and the Steelers lose. So, the easiest way for either one of these teams to get in is that they win the game and they hope Jacksonville loses this week. With that being said, this was going to be, on paper, this is going to be a great game. I was hoping that you could see both rookie quarterbacks going head to head here. Of course, Anthony Richardson is still not healthy. We won't see him till next year. But with that being said, the Houston Texans will go 10-7 and be looking for their first playoff berth in, I do believe, about 5 to 10 years. Give me Houston Texans over the Colts. To start off our Sunday games at 1 o'clock, you have the Jets and the Patriots. Both of these teams have officially been eliminated from playoff contention. So with that being said, I'm going to say the Jets do take this win. They end their season at 7-10. It's a pretty decent record for the Jets. They have not been a positive win record team. That's still not a winning record, of course, but it is a positive record going into next season with Aaron Rodgers coming back. And if I was the Patriots, I would be okay with taking the loss here because that gives you the chance to look at the up-and-coming draft class. We want to try to trade Mac Jones around to get a better. Do we want to start rebuilding our wide receiver core? Do we want to get rid of Ezekiel Elliott here? Try to get a running back. There's a lot of good options. And also Belichick is out of New England after this year. But give me the Jets to beat the Patriots at home. Next up, you have the Browns playing the Bengals. The Bengals are already eliminated from playoff contention this year as well. The Browns are already in. So with that being said, there's no playoff scenarios here. Give me the Browns to continue to roll on to a 12-5 season under Joe Flacco, who has had a monstrous comeback season from sitting on his couch to throwing 5 consecutive games with 300 plus yards. He's going to take the Browns to the playoffs at 12-5. You have the Jaguars traveling to Nashville to play against the Titans. The weather on the East Coast this weekend is supposed to be a little different than probably what the Jaguars are going to be used to. A lot of the people on the Jaguars are from all over the country. They're used to weather. But when you travel from warm Florida to cold mountains of Tennessee, it does make a difference. With that being said, there is a playoff scenario for the Jaguars. The Jaguars get the AFC South Division title with a win, or they have to tie and the Colts in Houston tie. The Jaguars only get playoff berth if they tie, the Steelers lose, or the Steelers lose, Denver loses, and Houston and the Colts does not end in a tie. With that being said, I truly do not see the Jaguars losing this game, unfortunately. So give me the Jaguars to win over the Titans in Nashville to possibly take the AFC South Divisional title. The Vikings travel to Detroit to play the Lions. Now, a lot of the teams on the NFC are still undecided on who is going where, seed they're going to have. And for the Lions, per se, I do believe they are actually set in at the number 2 seed at the moment. The Lions will have the number 2 seed and will be hosting a playoff game. So, with that being said, Detroit will end their season at 12-5 in Detroit and will host their first playoff game the following week. The Saints and the Falcons, both of these teams are not eliminated as of yet. The Falcons playoff scenario goes as follows. The Falcons clinched the NFC South Division title with a win, and the Buccaneers lose. That's it. They have to win. The Falcons have to do what they have struggled to do at the end of the season and win. The Saints have a little bit of a different scenario. They have to win and the Bucs have to lose, or they have to tie with the Falcons and the Bucs lose. For them to get in the playoffs, they have to win. Seattle has to lose. Green Bay has to lose. Or the Saints tie and Seattle loses and Green Bay loses. I'm going to say that the Saints will win and become 9-8 this week, but I do not see them making it to the playoffs. I do believe they will fall short with a winning record of 9-8. But give me the Saints to beat the Falcons. The Bucs and the Panthers. The Panthers do not have the possibility of making the playoffs. They are 2-14. The Buccaneers are 8-8. And for them to clinch the NFC South Divisional title, they have to win and the Saints have to lose. For them to get into the playoffs, they have to tie. The Seahawks have to lose and Green Bay has to lose. So the easiest way for them to get in the playoffs is to beat the Panthers at home at 1 o'clock. Give me the Bucs to go 9-8 and possibly Baker Mayfield to make a great playoff appearance with a second team. Of course, the teams that are eliminated that are going to be looking to rebuild coming this offseason and draft: Giants, the Commanders, the Panthers, Cardinals, Bears, Titans, Broncos, Patriots, Raiders, Jets, Bengals, and Chargers. To start our 4 o'clock slate of games, the Broncos and the Raiders are the first preview here. We see that both of them are 8-8. They both have a winning record of 500. But like I said, several teams who have winning records this year will not make the playoffs due to the conference play. And this is a set of those teams. But give me the Broncos to beat the Raiders to go 9-8 on the year. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers. The Chiefs have clinched the AFC West. So with that being said, the Chargers have been knocked out of playoff contention. I do see the Chiefs going 11-6 on the year. The Eagles travel to the Giants. The Eagles have had a rough couple of games. Last week we seen that with the Cardinals, which was a surprise to I think the whole world that watches football. So with that being said, the scenario for the Philadelphia Eagles to clinch the NFC East divisional title, they have to win and Dallas loses, or they tie with the Giants and Dallas loses. I don't see why we would even have to have a tie. I do believe the Eagles will beat the Giants and go to be 12-5. They just have to hope that Dallas decides to take it easy on the Washington Commanders this week and does not win. But give me the Eagles as 12-5 going into the playoffs. The Seattle Seahawks travel to Arizona. What we have to do to make a playoff berth, we have to win. The Packers have to lose. Or if it gets crazy, we have to tie. The Packers have to lose and the Buccaneers lose. Or we tie, the Packers tie, and the Saints lose. We just need to win. We need to play fourth quarter football and win the game. The Cardinals have decided that they want to be the team that puts a damper on everyone's plans. Done it last week. They're not going to do it this week. Seattle will win this one. We just have to hope that the Packers can lose. The Packers have been on a high level of offensive play. Their defense is very good all of a sudden. But give me Seattle to win in Arizona. The Rams travel to the 49ers. The 49ers have clinched the first place in the NFC. So everything will be going through Santa Clara once it gets to that point. The Los Angeles Rams have actually clinched playoff berth already. There is no scenario for them. We will be seeing Matthew Stafford and that offense in the playoffs. But for this one, I'm going to say that the 49ers will win. I do not see them resting any players this week. They will get their rest next week with the first round of the playoffs. The 49ers go 13-4. The Bears and Packers. The Bears have been eliminated from playoffs, but the Packers have not. For the Packers to make it to the playoffs, the easiest route is to win. But if they do not win, there must be a Seattle loss and a Saints loss, a Seattle loss and a Buccaneers loss, or a tie across the board for Seattle and Buccaneers. The fifth and sixth possible way for them to make it: Minnesota loses, Seattle loses, and the Buccaneers lose. So with that, the Packers must win to get in. And I'm going to say there is going to be an upset this week. Justin Fields and the Bears will upset the Packers and take them completely out of the playoff picture. The Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. The Cowboys have to win, and they take the number one spot in the NFC East. That is absolutely crazy. I don't think it's happened in several years. I know the Eagles have had it the last couple years. But their scenario to clinch the NFC East is they win, or they tie and Philly ties, or the second easiest route, the Eagles lose. Don't see the Eagles losing, So Dallas has to win to get into the playoffs and take the division. Give me Dallas to beat the Washington Commanders. The Buffalo Bills and the Dolphins. For this game, the Buffalo Bills have to win. They have no choice but to win this game to get the division title. Now, for them just to get playoff of both, they have to either tie, the Steelers lose, the Jaguars lose, and Houston and Indy loses. The Dolphins, their route, of course, to get the division is that they must win or tie on Sunday night. So with that being said, give me the Dolphins to beat Buffalo at home in Florida and take that division. With that being said, that is the Week 18 picks and predictions. Let us know in the comments who you do believe is going to win. Hit that like, and as always, subscribe to the football channel as we continue to give you insight into the playoffs and even into future draft picks and scenarios. We will see you in the next one.